Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back. We are in the end of our discussion on sifat of with opposites. So let's start our class. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. So our last set of with opposites are the fluency and the refusal. That means al-idlaq, al-ismat. Okay. So these two characteristics have more to do with Arabic language than anything else and are only included here because they are found in Tajweed books and Imam al-Jazari, who wrote the Jazari poem, where we get the rules of Tajweed. Included them in the characteristics section in his poem about the basics of Tajweed. His poem is about the basics of Tajweed. So from Imam al-Jazari poem, we have found these characteristics, so we are discussing as a part of the Tajweed rules, but they are actually prominent in Arabic language. Okay, so the fluency, its linguistic definition is fluency or purity of language, present in a 4 or 5 letter, a root for the word to be Arabic in origin. If none of the letters are in the fluency group, then the word is not an Arabic word. Okay, so any one of the letter should be present in the Arabic word, otherwise it will not it won't be correct. Okay, so there are 5-6 letters here. Here phrase has been mentioned, farra min lubbi. To remember these 6 letters, fa, ra, mim, noon, lam, ba. And the opposite of it is refusal or ismat. So its linguistic definition is desisting or refusal. The letter that has this characteristic is considered heavier because it does not rely on the tip of the tongue. The rest of the Arabic letters, except these 6 letters, the rest of the Arabic letters are in this group. They are actually do not come from the tip of the tongue. That's for this reason they considered heavier than the idlaq. Okay, alhamdulillah. We have finished the pairs of with opposites. Now in lesson 2 we will discuss without opposites characteristics. So our first one is as-safir, the whistle. In this characteristic there we have 3 letters which should be pronounced in a whistling sound. So its linguistic definition is sharpness of sound, but applied definition is sharpness in the sound of the letter produced from its traversing through a tight passage. Okay, these are 3 letters that have this characteristic: fod, sin, zay. This sound is not a forced sound, but one that should come out naturally with the letters. They are not forced one. We should not force to produce this whistling sound. It actually comes out naturally. Some may have difficulty producing this characteristic if they have a large overbite of teeth. Okay, this can be overcome if the lower jaw is protruded so that the upper and lower teeth align. That means we have to we have to protrude. If the jaw is protruded, the sound comes out easily. If not, the pronunciation gets wrong. So another reason is for the incorrect muting of this characteristic is the tip of the tongue is pressed up and with force on the plates of the teeth. So if we force our tip of the tongue to the plate of the teeth, it's also the wrong way of pronouncing. So if a small space remains between the tongue and the plates, so we should have a little space kept between the tongue and the plates so that the whistle can be emitted easily, and the sound of whistle is strong in sin more than thwad and zai. Sin. The arrangement according to the strength of the whistle is first one is sin, then zai, then thwad. Okay. So in the next slide, the the next one. The next one is lean. That means the ease. So the linguistic definition is easiness, and applied definition is emitting the letter from its articulation point with ease without effort from the tongue. I, then au, easily comes, and it's the letter which is preceded by a fatha and comes with a sukoon, like al-bayt, khawf, quraish, ay, aw, ay. Okay, these are called lean letters. Okay, and the next one is the deviation, and al-inhiraf. It's the drifting. Linguistic definition is drifting, and applied definition is drifting of the sound of the letter as it leaves the articulation point due to the incomplete running caused by the tongue turning from its path. As we have discussed before, that the tongue acts as a barrier, so it actually drift from its articulation point due to the incomplete running caused by the tongue turning from its path. The letter lam is the tip of the tongue sticks to the articulation point. The lam, as in shidda, the sound then deviates of the sides of the tongue. Then it goes to the side of the tongue for completing the rakhawa characteristic. As it is the tawassut harf, tawassut later, so for this reason we have to complete both characteristic, which is used also for the articulation point. So here the another position has been shown here, the deviation. The letter ra sticks at the left and right of the very tip of the second part of the articulation point. Here. The gums of the two front teeth, okay, that means as sanaya, we have read in the articulation point. As in shidda, then a small space at the tip of the tongue is made so that the sound can escape out of the mouth, as in rakhawa. So we hear stucking the tongue. We are stuffing the tongue to the gum of the teeth for completing the characteristic of shidda. Then a small space is created so that we can complete the characteristic of rakhawa. And trailing, that means takrar, is therefore avoided for this raw. The tip of the tongue is somewhat cupped for this small space to occur the middle of the teeth. This is the reason of both these letters have the characteristic of tawassut instead of rakhawa or shiddat. So we have to maintain both the characteristic in this letter. Ra. Okay. So Okay, so let's switch to the next characteristic. It is takrar. As we have said before that repetition or takrar. Its linguistic definition is repeating something once or more. And in Tajweed, it is meant that a light trailing of the tongue when pronouncing ra due to its tight articulation point. The reciter should be careful. Here, one thing should be noted that the reciter should be careful not to exaggerate the repetition, leading to the occurrence of more than one of the letter ra. So the repetition should be light, and this repetition should be not more than one. Only one repetition should be occur, like ra, ra. This space let part the sound here, and a space is created for the escape of the sound when we pronounce the ra. Also, this space prevents trailing of the tongue while pronouncing this. So the spaces matters. If we try to control the trailing, the space should be very little. Ra, ra, like that. Okay. So Alhamdulillah. So it's about takrar, and the next one is at-tafashi, diffusion. And here there is only one letter, sheen, spreading out, spreading around, spreading the sound of the letter sheen. So here sheen is spreaded out in our whole of our mouth. It's actually starting from its articulation point until it collides with the inner plates of the upper and lower teeth. So when we are pronouncing sheen, a lot of air is coming out, sheen, and it's actually spreading throughout our mouth. So for this reason, sheen is a letter of tafashi. Okay, Alhamdulillah. We will end up our discussion for today. In the next class, we will meet with the rest of the characteristics. Till then, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.